Hello, honest members. We're going to continue on to our next topic, right? If you've been enjoying this content, and we've been giving you a lot of content, well, yeah, we've been giving you good content. Then hit that follow button. If you're just coming here, like hit that follow button right now. Make sure notifications are on so you know I'm going live. We do 6 nights a week. Don't you want to miss out on any of that content. Exclamation point social and chat. For our social media, follow us on Twitter for tweets. Yeah, that's right. Discord. So we have all our conversations, including this conversation, right? Including our open walk-on panel, which we'll have after this, and YouTube's where we find the VOD. So like, comment, and subscribe, and consider becoming a YouTube member, hitting that join button, and supporting the channel that way as well. All right. So we'll move on, and we'll go to the next topic. Amir Locke was killed by Minneapolis police during the execution of a no-knock warrant. This specific type of warrant is being blamed for his murder. His family is looking to specifically ban no-knock warrants. But does this make sense? Is that the reason why Amir died? Is this ban another band-aid on the problem of policing, like body cameras, that solves very little? And beyond that, are no-knock warrants a valuable tool? Yeah, so Amir Locke is the latest one that has reached national detention anyway, of a unarmed black man who being killed. Like you have body cam footage, right? Showing the officers coming in and like just busting into his apartment. He's sleeping on the couch. He gets woken up right when they come in, and they just immediately shoot him. They will immediately gun him down. That was it. So his family blame the whole no-knock warrant policy in the first place. But I kind of want to explore that. So we'll go down the line. Black American made. What do you think?
Yeah, just throwing this out there before the chat comes in the right. We're like, oh, you're being dishonest. He did have a gun, but he wasn't aiming at anyone. And it's his house, and someone broke in. You're allowed to have guns in America. That's the Second Amendment. I think this was tragic because the justification is, well, if like there was some marginal chance that because of the situation that the police escalated, that he may have responded and tried to defend himself, so they chose themselves over him. But the reality is the situation wouldn't have happened if they wouldn't have like created this chaotic situation to begin with, especially with his name not even being listed on the warrant as who they were looking for. So are there rare extreme cases where no-knock warrants are probably valid? Sure, but that doesn't happen in the 99.99% of cases, and this especially wasn't one. This was, yeah, it was a murder.
Azzy.
Most definitely a murder. What was the I'm trying to figure out the name of the individual who interrupted the press conference. She was a part of the team to facilitate better relations between the community and the police, and to train police to be better, be more of like a community, or like a community policing. She said it was an anatomy of a cover-up, and I agree. They walk in on an individual who's under the covers. He has a gun, yes, but not once did they say drop the weapon. Within minutes, they shot and killed the individual, Amir, and they didn't bat an eye. And then when they get up, they say he's a suspect, but prior to that, he wasn't a suspect. So it felt like they were covering up, and then all this evidence afterward is coming out, and the mayor couldn't speak to it. The individual, she's trying to be police chief. I don't remember all the names. But they just did not handle it well. And this is the second time that the Minnesota police have done something, this incredulous, this dumb, this violent. So it's a murder. It's a cover up.
Did he have a gun?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
It was a licensed gun. Licensed.
Excuse me. Yeah, I said unarmed, I believe. I think. Then excuse me. I'll take that.
But he was licensed, and it was a no-knock warrant.
Yeah, it doesn't change my answer at all. It doesn't change anything what I think about it at all. Because if it's licensed gun, then yeah, whatever. But we'll get to it. Wiggle.
I hear people say like, things like there's a time and a place, you would want to have a no knock warrant, etc. It still seems like the police announced before they went. It seems like that's what the law changed to be, that they announced it. So it's like, yeah, add the knocking. Like, fuck no knock warrants then. Like, what the fuck? Like, why give the government that extra power? Why? Like, why simp for that kind of extra power in the hands of like the government that's just gonna use that to come into your home and look for what they want with force behind them. I don't understand that. Like, it's just the idea of knocking. They're gonna announce themselves anyway. Just add that in. Like, why have no knock warrants? Um, Beyond that, I also agree with Azzy. It's kind of sus because they said that like the person was holding a weapon, but it was pointing in a way that wasn't towards officers, and then their hands were off of it in such a way that it wouldn't shoot immediately. But then the officers claimed later that there was like a police officer that was off the body cam footage or off the screen that was potentially was aimed at, and I feel like it's hard to believe it's hard to believe the police in this scenario because it's like, look at what they're thinking about. Like 2 years ago they had like what, the George Floyd incident, etc. They know the implications of like a case like this and what it would mean for the entire city. They know the strain it would cause on like their fellow police officers, etc. It would be the type of case where they would do everything within their power to have some level of corruption in order to protect their city from like future harm. So it makes sense that they would try to do something illegal like a cover up or what have you. So it makes me feel really skeptical of what you're hearing. On top of that, like it's hard to really relate fully because I don't have I don't have a weapon myself. So I don't know all of the rules for having a gun or what have you. So I don't know whether it's a big deal if somebody's holding a weapon but it's not pointed at you and it's in their hand. If there should be a fear that you fear or what have you. From my perspective, it's kind of like this person wasn't supposed to die. They killed him really quickly. They also had the warrant that they wanted and they asked for, and they did their job incorrectly. But they still got the results they wanted in the end. Outside of the death of this person, they still ended up getting the evidence I think they looked for.
Hey, Cook.
Yeah, there's really only, I think, three key players. Mayor Frey, I believe, of Minneapolis is his name. And it's interim police chief Huffman. Obviously the officer, and I think Azzy, the name you were looking for was Nikema Armstrong. She was the person who mentioned that quote that you said. Look, I don't think that banning no-knock warrants is the answer because clearly they've changed the law in Minneapolis that you're supposed to announce yourself before going in. I believe also that they issued 2 warrants for this. So there was a no-knock and then essentially like you have to announce yourself type of warrant, but the police chose to do what they did, right? The execution of the warrant was the problem, not the issuance. So I think banning these types of warrants isn't really going to change anything if you still have a policing problem. I just don't see how this is how these warrants are a valuable tool, but I don't think that they're ever going to go away because of the special cases.
Top Dolphin.
Yeah, I'm making sure I'm not doing the muted thing. No knock warrants are. I came into the panel actually, thinking that I was gonna be here like, oh yeah, we should keep no knock warrants. They're like, there's probably uses for them. And there could be like the textbook no knock situation is like, hey, like there's criminal inside with drugs. You want to bust the drugs. You don't want to flush them down the toilet, so you don't knock in, so he doesn't have time to respond. However, I was reading a lot about no knock warrants, and one of the things that I came across is that like no knock warrants are supposed to be used to like help officers with their own safety, which seems kind of counterintuitive because, especially if you live in like a stand your ground state or like where we're in a country we're allowed to own firearms and defend our homes with them. Like you can walk into somebody's house who's a criminal, so they probably have a firearm, whether it's registered or not, right? Assuming that you know this person's a criminal or a suspect, as they say. And then, like, if the person has a firearm and you don't tell them who you are, you just get to shoot them. Seems like a really dumb policy. Like, I guess, like, if they want to keep no-knock warrants around, my thing is, like, yeah, you better be ready to get shot, because, like, there's no way before that person knows you're a cop that you should be allowed to shoot at them. Because otherwise, you could just be any random dipshit breaking in and fucking, like paramilitary gear for some reason, because you can buy that shit. And the other thing that kind of goes with it is, like, it just seems like even if, like, the issuance of these things has been, like, really good, like, from the giving them outside for purposes, it seems like they're, like, never executed well. Or I don't see lots of cases where they're executed well, but that just could be, like, a bias, if not, like, a, what do they call it, like, availability bias or whatever.
Eli.
Sure, certainly. So this case and what happened in it was vile. It was completely unnecessary. And I agree with what Jay Cook said about the fact that, banning no-knock warrants isn't necessarily a problem. But I still don't think that they should, like, it shouldn't exist in our society. Like, there's no reason why a guy or a group of guys that have more shit than the common man could be expected to have in their home. All kinds of, like, riot and tactical gear, just busting down your door and then shooting you while you're on your couch wrapped in a fucking blanket. Like, and anybody who backs up what happened, who backs up these cops and defends these cops and what happened in this case, your cards are showing. Just so you know, we know why you're backing this up. Every single gun right advocacy group, all that shit should be outraged at this, because here's the thing: if the police can bust down your door, and they can do that because they have a badge, and because they have this badge, they can just shoot you on sight because you have a gun in your own goddamn home, then guess what? You don't have the right to bear arms, okay? Point blank, simple, the end. And yes, this is a product of really bad, really shitty policing. Police officers that specifically do not take care when they handle black people and when they patrol our neighborhoods. They don't take care. They don't handle us with care. They treat us like we're, in a way, like we're subhuman. So yeah, I'm gonna bust down this door because it's in a black neighborhood. Who's gonna give a shit? What, black activists? Oh yeah, sure, great, yeah. I'm totally gonna go to jail tonight after I do this shit. Like, it's sorry if I'm using a lot of, like, emotionally charged language, but whenever I hear this case, it gets me really fired up because I see a bunch of people that are defending this shit. Nobody on this panel, thank God. But, or at least somebody on this panel so far, Pyro. Just kidding. I don't think you're gonna defend it. But yeah, this is a symptom of a much bigger disease. The disease being racism and white supremacy. And if you don't see it as a symptom of racism and white supremacy, and that we really do need major reform and reconfiguration of our police force, then I don't know what the fuck else to tell you. I don't know. Just don't talk to me, I guess. I don't know.
See, Tandiway Newton should have hired you. Man.
What?
Instead of doing, she should hire you, because if you were working for her, she wouldn't have done that shit. She would have done a lot better. She would be a better activist.
Oh, well, thanks, I guess.
Pyro, please.
Yeah. So this is like my 8th panel in a year on your platform specifically, where we have this specific topic come on, because surprise, surprise, the police done killed someone, or they flash banged a baby, or they ran over some old fucking woman, or yeah. See, no knock warrants should not be a thing. Seems like every time we forget about this issue, they up and kill a bunch of people. I'm reading like a bunch of different articles on this. You know the funny part? This police department wasn't going to use this warrant beforehand. They got convinced to do it, and they hadn't used this type of warrant since 2016. So the first time they used it after all of this time, someone dies. Yeah, we need to get rid of this. There was a case going. The police are using the excuse that there was a case going on beforehand, and they were trying to get evidence, and like they did get the evidence, which led to the arrest of the dude's cousin, but at the cost of another life. The police investigation should not cost lives if it doesn't need to. I like it the way Eli put it best. This is a country where we're supposed to have the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms. I don't give a fuck if he was eating Cheerios in his goddamn SpongeBob underwear while waving the gun around listening to Coolio. He has that right if he wants to. I'm also reading that when he poked his head up above the comforters like a little scared caterpillar, his finger wasn't even on the trigger. So this is a man who knows proper gun etiquette. So it's like y'all walked in and y'all killed a man who had the right to own a gun, and for what? And now we're just supposed to sit here and take it. That tells me that not only am I not allowed to own the gun, but every time someone starts busting into my house, I gotta make sure they ain't yelling the right magical words before I actually think about defending myself. Because who knows? It could be a police officer. And with the amount of cases we've had cases where these niggas busted into people's houses in plain clothing. So who knows? The group of niggas busted in your house could be police officers. Watch out for the magic words. This is bullshit. We need to get rid of these laws. Fuck it. They already twitched them. Get rid of them.
Open panel.
Okay, because I don't think this should be a super important part of the discussion. So I just want to get out the way first. There are very rare situations where it would seem to make sense. Like if you're dealing with a situation involving like a hostage situation, you don't want to alert someone. Like I don't care about someone flushing drugs. Like you lose the drugs, oh well, try again, make a better case. But like if you have someone or there's a guy with a shotgun, standing behind the door, as soon as you knock, he's shooting through the door. Like there do exist very, very rare situations where if you have without a shadow of a doubt, reason to expect that you're going to be met with immediate violence, and you have a
time out, bro. The police should have enough sensibility and enough training, even though we know they don't, to be able to have tactics, bro. If knocking on a fucking door results in your hostage getting killed because you didn't have anything else covered, bro, what the fuck are you doing?
But you can't just say that. You have to have some realistic alternative. What happens? Like if you knock on the door, I'm killing her, and it's like, what do we do? You should have figured out something else to knock on the door without killing.
Guess what? You get the FBI. They said we don't negotiate with terrorists, and then
exactly.
All I'm saying is I'm not gonna give up my rights because of hostage scenarios.
Thank you.
You don't have to because it would only be regarding people in those situations.
Well, necessarily, I would say
that's what they tell you. Sure.
Exceptional situations should be the exception, not the rule, right?
That's what we're saying. We're talking about the exception.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but I would rather them just say, hey, let's ban no-knock warrants outright, and then maybe say, oh, well, here's an exception to the rule, right?
You can't do that. If you ban them, there can't be an exception.
No,
they're one or the other.
You can absolutely do this, right?
No, you have if they're still legal, then you have some. If you have some caveats, then they're legal. They're not banned.
It has to do with police policy, which is kind of law, but not really. You can outright say we ban no-knock warrants except for hostage situations. And
exactly. Then that's not banned.
And that's it, right? That's a ban. All right.
If you play because there's a situation where it happens.
Games if you want.
There's not semantics. Either ban means you can't do it. Not ban means you can't do it. You don't disagree
with this, dog, right? We might say that meth is illegal in the United States and banned, but doctors can still prescribe it, right? Of course you can make exceptions for shit like this. It's so obvious.
It's only used in exceptional situation. That's the point. It's not either. It's not banned.
It's not just that it's only used in exceptional situation. This is not an exceptional. What we just saw.
I know. I'm saying that something that's used in an exceptional situation isn't banned. That means it's used in an exceptional situation. It's legal in an exceptional situation.
I mean, Top Dolphin.
I don't want to leave it up. I don't want to leave it up to the police and then the judge to decide whether this is exceptional or not. I want it to be written in law. And I want it to be, that we decided, the people decided that these are the chances where it can be used. Not the judge and the police decide.
One of the things I was bringing up, when I was looking through all of the previous cases where no-knock warrants have resulted in shit, I was talking about memeingly, oh, they flash bang a baby like it's Call of Duty. Yeah, and a lot of this happens because when they go and get these warrants, somewhere, and it's amazing, almost every time it's oh, we got the address wrong. It was actually across the street or down the block. So it seems like there's a pattern of these niggas not knowing how to get their address right. And until we can get the address right, until we can make sure people don't die because they're practicing their rights, they got a gun, they wrapped up in the blanket. I don't think they should be allowed.
Yeah, it's the whole idea of what Chris Rock said. Some of our pilots like to land. some of them like to crash in the mountains. You know, like we can't sit here and see and be like, oh well, you know, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. No, it's just I don't think again that anybody in full tactical gear and shit, there's a power imbalance there. You know, I don't have tactical gear, and I don't give a fuck if you say like, oh, we'll just go buy some. No, fuck that. Okay, I don't have tactical gear and training. These motherfuckers do. So you know what I'm gonna need them to do? I'm gonna need them to at least knock on my goddamn door before they come in my shit, okay? I'm gonna need them to knock on my goddamn door and wait for me to answer it. Damn, like
Bro, when you come into my house, give me more than 10 seconds to poke my head above the fucking
that
covers,
too.
bro.
Yeah.
Like
That
they
too.
gave like every 10 seconds and you're expecting to be
storming
like,
my
oh,
house like the beaches of Normandy, bro. Calm down.
like he's wrapped up
down.
in a comforter in his blanket. Like y'all don't know what he's doing. He could be like in the middle of a spicy 10 seconds. Y'all gave the nigga 10 seconds.
They announced themselves
More-
before they entered.
Yes. Jay.
Okay, so
said
then
it.
they were
The rule is
they
you
did what they
announce
were
yourself
supposed to.
as you
They,
enter for a no
But
knock
also,
warrant.
but
So,
also,
like in a regular warrant, you have to knock on the door and say, "Hey, police!" before you break in. And a no-knock warrant, you break the door in, and then you say, "Hey, we're the police. We're coming in."
no. Faye
That's
put,
also-
That's the
Faye
new
put
rule in terms of
restrictions.
no-knock
Wait,
warrant.
He
yeah.
put restrictions on no knock warrant.
That
Yeah.
is the restriction. That's the difference. Is that you
No,
can
no,
break the door before you.
They're
yell, you know
saying
you're
that not
police.
in all, not like in totality within this area. Like the mayor made a restriction.
Yeah,
that
in
made it so that
Minneapolis
it's-
specifically.
yes.
You
And then
have
they
to
said that
announce
restrictions
yourself
that
before you
you would
enter.
have to announce yourself before you knock. Oh, you don't knock, you just announce yourself instead. So they
You
announce
announce
themselves.
yourself and then you
You
break
announce
down the
yourself
door.
as you enter, not before.
Prior, no,
not
it's
before.
prior to breaching
before.
the threshold.
Are you sure about that?
I'm
Sure.
yes.
Realistically,
I'm
what-
reading the
Okay, so like,
mayor
Top
on
I'm-
record.
Dolphin, it's
like-
not realistically Top Dolphin. It's really similar because they're gonna make sure they can open the door right after
Yeah,
they say it. You know, so
they
it's like-
they had a key at 6:48. Officers
Yes.
used a key to enter apartment, and they did so while simultaneously yelling like,
Yeah,
"Police
they're not gonna
search
be like,
warrant!"
police here, and then be like, "Fuck, Tim, you forgot the key." Like, oh damn, and they're gonna like make sure
like
they
they
can open the door.
timed it. They said it almost immediately, and then like they busted in his house, and like so like even though they were technically following the rules. It doesn't seem like this nigga had enough chance because like the moment he hears yelling, they already in his house yelling at him like, "Put your hands down, get on the ground, hands up, pokey, left to the right." Like, what is he supposed to do at that point? And then like, oh, they see he has a gun in his house, and it's like, oh, open range. Start
Also,
blasting.
this is I don't know if I was thinking to say this because I've been watching this show Gomorrah. It's not U.S. It's like Italian and shit. It's completely different. But they be dressing up like police. So I was just thinking about that. It's like, how do you even know if you involved in some shit? How do you even know
No,
if it's like the
that's what I'm
police?
saying.
If they
That's
just
what I'm
like
saying.
break down your door, I could break down your door if I'm trying to get some shit and just be like, I'm the police.
With
You know,
these
like how do
law,
you
with
just
these
assume?
laws,
So
with
you
these
mean
laws
kinda
on
like
the
with the
book,
Breonna
you
Taylor
gotta
situation.
with these laws on the book, you gotta listen for every magic word, and you gotta make sure. Because if you shoot a police officer, God help you, because you going down, nigga. Like, oh, they bursted it, but it was a police officer. Most cases, they will lock you up for shooting a police officer.
What's crazy is like the biggest defense of
Or
this
what's gonna
comes from
happen
the
is he's gonna shoot
situation
the
of
police officer, and they're gonna make him look like SpongeBob.
Yeah, like
I dug. But I was saying, what's crazy is like the biggest defense of this situation is always going to be like, oh well, he had a gun, he could have hurt one of the officers. Like they were in a high stress situation. And then
it's
the
not gonna
question
be
is
the
like,
biggest defense.
it's going to be like, how did we get in this high stress situation? Who created this high stress situation?
Oh my God! I can't
Nah,
help the
the-
fact
the-
that I
the-
can't help the fact that I just knocked your block off. I
Nah.
was in a high stress
The
situation.
biggest defense,
You
the biggest
said that
defense
Marvel
from
was better
people-
than DC. Like that's stupid. When they say that shit is stupid. No offense, Prime.
Nah, the biggest defense of this shit is gonna be the fact that they got his cousin for like the murder of the dude, which was like the reason for the warrant.
Yeah,
A lot
do you
of
know
people,
how he was apprehended by chance?
Yeah, they were looking for some type of physical evidence, and like this was the reason they did the no knock warrant, so the dude couldn't get rid
No,
of the
but
evidence.
how his cousin was apprehended? Because I was trying to
Oh.
look for that, and I was just curious.
Yeah, no, I
because,
didn't.
Yeah,
I
give him
wasn't.
9 seconds.
I think it happened like it wasn't at the scene. I think it happened.
Yeah, it wasn't
later.
at the scene of the crime. It was
I think
at a
like
later
couple
position.
days later.
Yeah, they used evidence to like find him and shit.
I'm
And
just,
it's
I
like-
don't think that's gonna be like their big defense, unless like if that's the state of the country. That's sad. If their like defense is like, yeah, we killed a person, but we fixed the case. You know, we finished.
So
I think their
apparently-
defense is gonna be like, we killed the
Yeah, like-
person. We
yeah,
gotta
like
defend the
Brennan-
fact we killed the person, That's
Yeah,
not
like burning
responsible
down the
enough.
house to kill the ants. That's what they did. They burned down the house to kill the ants. That's exactly.
And
what
he was
Oh,
hiding evidence. He was like,
Their defense is
know.
gonna be that he had a weapon, and they're gonna be like what they said. They're gonna be like, he had a weapon, and he was actually pointing at one of us, and we did fear for our lives. And so it goes to what Eli was talking about, where it's like, if that's the case, then do you really have the right to bear arms within your own house? Like the police will just always be able to say that.
And that's another thing. That's another thing. Okay. I also want to bring up something, and I'm not just bringing this up because somebody mentioned it in chat, but like, and maybe this is out of left field, but Kyle Rittenhouse, prime example. Like the right to bear arms, the Second Amendment does not apply to black folk. It doesn't. It almost never does. It never does. In very minute occasions. I know Spaniard dude in Spaniard 1375, that racist piece of what. I know he's probably gonna say like shotgun off a bunch of times where like the Second Amendment did work for black folk. But the fact of the matter is, it does not mean shit for us. Okay, it doesn't. They will always, especially if you are a black person with a gun, they will justify or find a reason to justify the fact that a cop just lit your ass up. They do that every time. Kyle Rittenhouse was able to walk into a crowd of people with a fucking AR-15, strapped to his stomach. I'm doing it.
Let's just not
Strapped
do
to his
this.
stomach. But then people want to make all kinds of excuses for him. But then Amir Locke is sitting in. He was in his house. He wasn't out in public. He was just in his house or in an apartment inside. Got lit up. Bruh, don't even
invoke Kyle Rittenhouse. I cannot speak.
You
invoked
Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm not getting in that mob. God bless.
Freaking shoot me.
Okay.
What I'll say is, I
Wiggle
think
Warrant.
he's speaking
Wiggle
to something
Warrant.
that's like really
Wiggle Pyro Warren, get on the ground now. Where's your weed?
I think, especially when it comes to cases with police, right? Like in the United States, like we have the right to bear arms, but like because black people have such like a combative or such a tense situation, police officers in the United States, a lot of times, even when we have the right to bear arms, like either the African American or somebody related to them ends up dead. A really good example of this is like the Breonna Taylor case, whereas her boyfriend at the time shot a cop, legitimately shot a cop, right? Because they were breaking into his house, and he wasn't charged. He didn't, or he might have been charged, but he was like, he got off. He didn't get in trouble for it, right? But like the consequence of that is that his girlfriend, Breonna Taylor, died, right? And like the way that black people are allowed to exercise the right to bear arms in the United States seems to be very different than the way white people can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that race is absolutely a massive factor, but the reality is like we as a society just made not we as in black people, but the society as a whole made a decision that cops' lives in particular are more valuable than anyone else's. And if it comes to a situation where it's like you're like a cops or anyone else's, like people can sit with the justification of like, well, if he wouldn't have died, then there's even a chance that the cop could have died, and that we can't have that because a cop is a better person.
For me, I think it's just like the evangelizing of like police officers, of like they're doing the moral good, like they're the same as like soldiers or something. And it's just like from that extent, it's always going to be positioned as this guy died, and it's going to be a cultural problem. It's going to be like, oh, he had the wrong friends, he was hanging around the wrong community. He shouldn't have been there. He knew what was going on. They said the same thing with like Breonna Taylor. They're always going to use that reasoning of like they're actually the newspapers were all making them out to be a really good person, but here's how they're not a good person, and that's supposed to justify why they're gone. Where it's like I think like once there stop being like some sort of christening of like cops and such in the country, then people will view this more like aligned. You'll have right-wing individuals, left-wing individuals come together and be like, this is your government, and this is like an inability of your state government or your federal government, and against people in general. This shouldn't be something that happens. It doesn't matter who your friends are, what's going on. Did you break the law? No. So you shouldn't have people that can come into your home and kill you. And what? Like, that should be the end of it,
Yeah, but there are some uses to no-knock warrants. Like, no-knock warrants is very useful if you're like walking into like a huge Like,
Bro, you
if
sound
you're doing
like
a
the
drug
United
raid-
States. Like I get it.
You
Yes,
sound
there,
like the
there
United
are
States
reasons
You're doing a
why.
drug-
There are
Okay,
reasons
I know
why
what
we
you're about to
flew into like Pakistan and like.
There
I
are
know, you know,
reasons
the
for
Osama bin
military.
Laden.
Listen,
There's
why I didn't
reasons
wanna
why
say
we
that,
did
because
it. You
that's
know,
pretty
like,
obvious.
There are reasons for
You're walking in
military.
like
there
dirt.
are.
Shut up.
Yeah,
Shut
you
up,
ain't
shut
gonna
up.
knock.
Listen, there's a reason for our military
I kind of
intervention.
want to go
Hold
in a
on.
different
You're
direction
not
when you guys are done.
knocking on terrorists.
Yeah,
You
we
don't-
didn't alert
Hold on.
Pakistan
Jay,
because
can
we had to
talk.
kill
We'll take
Osama bin
them out.
Laden. You know, there are these
Everybody talking over each
scenarios
other.
where it makes sense.
Listen, there are certain scenarios where a military intervention by surprise is completely
Don't try to steal my.
I'm sorry
I
there
hate
are collateral
you.
damage. I'm sorry there's collateral damage along the way, but USA, God save our troops, love the police. That's what it
Hold on.
always
Yeah,
is.
but if
Hold
you're
on a
doing a
second.
drug raid,
Justice
if you're
done.
doing a drug raid, I'm not gonna knock and say police, because those people might. They might.
What are they going to do if you take the proper precautions, Azzy? You don't just knock on the police. You don't knock on the door with one happy
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. All right,
officer.
hold on,
We
let's-
talk.
all right, great. So, anywho,
You're breaking up.
I
Yeah,
think
no,
Jay,
yeah,
I
no.
think Jay was trying to
I think-
as he finished and then Jay go. But like y'all do sound really stupid speaking in the ultimatum. There's no possible situation where it could ever be
No
useful.
one
that
said that,
sounds
though.
no. That's exactly what you're saying.
No,
sounds
we
good.
literally
No.
did not say that.
No one
Like,
said that.
It's the idea
Bro,
that yes,
oh,
there are
we're not talking
there
about
are
Pakistan
scenarios
and terrorists. We're not
there
talking
are-
about terrorists.
It's like the idea that like yeah, there are scenarios where it could be useful, but why would you allow the police and the judge to decide when instead
But
of
no,
you?
no, hold
Instead
on.
of you,
But
like-
this is why you don't interrupt me, because I was about to say the St. Paul police asked for a normal
Bro,
search
I didn't
warrant.
interrupt
It's
you,
when they
man. This is
brought
gonna be the
on
filibuster year.
Minneapolis.
It'll be 2023. If I didn't
We're gonna be-
interrupt you, bro, like I would wake up and I'll be 40 years
Yeah,
old.
and then you said a lot
I'll
of
be
other
like,
things
damn.
too. You brought up Pakistan.
Azzy,
So thank
Azzy,
you.
you still here?
I'd rather it be 2023 than us talk about Pakistan.
Okay, are you
So,
guys
like,
finished with your pissing
any-
contest?
No.
Like, anyway,
Never done, but
the
go ahead.
St. Paul police
I haven't even
the St. Paul
started
Police
pissing yet.
Department- The St. Paul Police Department brought up they wanted a normal search warrant. This is when
Wait, I want to
they
address
requested-
that was kind of sexist. So it's a pissing contest because men are just
Yeah, that was a
arguing with
little-
each other. It was like why? Like I
It's
support
good,
all
it's good.
I support all genders arguing with each other. So it's a pissing contest because me and Azzy are arguing with each other. That's fucked up. That's fucked up.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Azzy,
I
I
could be more
appreciate you
sexist
and your
than that.
penis. I
I'll let it
appreciate
go.
you
I
and
could say a
your
little
penis.
pee-pee
Azzy.
contest.
As a black male,
A little PP contest. Whoa!
I imagine you have an
Respect.
excellent dick.
Show some
Azzy, okay?
respect. Alright,
Bro,
alright.
like, yo, let's get into this.
Okay,
shit.
Okay,
Let's
end
get
of the
into
day,
it.
me and Azzy are just riffing.
derailing.
No,
I
pissing
went.
contest?
So
Oh,
I just had. So I was doing some research and I saw that the officer who shot Amir was also a training officer. So like,
He was
I
an
guess-
idiot.
yeah,
He was a new guy.
no, he was gonna be a training officer. is what
You
I
mean?
read.
Oh, so my information was wrong. Okay.
That's even
He
worse.
ain't,
You're
he
saying
ain't
he-
training anyone
he
anymore.
was with other
That's
people,
even-
or he was in
That's even
training.
worse.
No, he was
how
a
many-
training officer. I can
In your research, how many officers were there?
It's supposedly 4 is what I've heard from other media outlets. But
This is crazy that there's 4 officers there, but
I
and
feel
it's
like
just
that wasn't the
one
only
guy
thing Jay had
letting
to
loose.
say.
yeah, that wasn't my question.
I know that Go ahead.
It's wild how you go off on tangent. I don't get it. So if this guy is a training officer, I would assume like not anymore. Obviously, he's probably put on probation. But like, what other? I mean, clearly there's like it's more than like training that is a problem here, right? It's like there's a systemic issue. But I guess I'm curious what your opinion is of how to address it, because outside of that, I have to say, like, I was reading his record. Let me find the article, and it's not like the worst in the world. He had 3 other I guess demerits, for lack of a better word, like complaints put on him, but each of those were closed, and there don't seem to be like any other reports on those, so I guess they weren't as significant, but I guess we'll find out. Also, I hear that there's like talks that the AG is looking to put this as a case. I don't know if that's gonna stand as far as like what he'll be charged, but yeah, like, what do you guys think is the solution here?
They need to put
I don't
every
think he wanted
restriction. They need to
I
put
don't-
heavy restrictions on the police department. They need to fire and rehire. They need to cut pensions.
They already fired the chief of police.
We need to
That's
get
why have this
we need to get rid of
difference in
police unions, because the police unions are the things that are out here that are protecting
my God.
these
Absolutely
shitty
I was
cops.
gonna say all that. I got family who
These
are
are
cops.
all
It's
the
jobs,
problems.
bro.
So what
Police
well,
unions
I
are
think
just
it's-
jobs. Can I answer Jay's question?
It's jobs. It's jobs. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. People are still getting killed, and we have like, what are the what are your takes then? What are your takes then?
I'm
I was
saying
gonna-
I just wanted to
What's
like
the take? What's the take?
specific. Well, police unions are just they're unions.
They're unions that protect shitty cops. So we need to get rid of the things that's protecting the shitty
But I
cops.
bet you're
so
pro
we can
every
hold the
other
shitty
type of
cops
union.
more accountable.
The only problem I
You're-
have with getting rid of unions is because once you start getting rid of one type of union, people can use that those same tactics versus other unions where they're
No,
very
they
negative.
can't.
They're
No,
fucking
wait,
That's
time
me.
out.
That's
Wait,
Time
me.
out. Time out.
Please,
Time out. Wait.
please,
Hold
hold
on.
on.
Can we
Please,
can we
let's-
please
Wait.
address what-
No.
let's
I'll
not-
let y'all speak for a
please-
little.
Wait, can we
Please
address
don't-
what Jay
please
said
don't-
before we do that then? No,
It's
that's what I'm
not
saying.
serious.
Like we can't just let's just not let she asked the question. Let's actually address that. Like,
Yeah.
but it is super unuseful to pretend that like every cop involved was like these cops were involved or like they went in there to kill a nigga. That I don't think that gets us anywhere. Like how you said that his record wasn't that bad. That's probably true. The reality is they created a really dumb situation that led to hostility. Like if I was in a situation where I saw someone like, oh crap, that's a gun that might be pointed at me, I may die. Like I can empathize to the point of I understand what put him in the situation to fire the gun, but I can't sympathize with the fact that you did it because it's a situation that you, like, for lack of better words, put on yourself. You put yourself in this situation to have this potential gun put in your direction that made you kill someone that this shouldn't have died. So there should be consequences for that.
So I posted an article, what I was trying to bring up before. Fox 9's Paul Bloom confirmed St. Paul's police initially requested a standard search warrant, but for MPD, Minneapolis Police Department, to join the operation, its personnel insisted on the no-knock provision. So they escalated this situation themselves.
And this officer
So
who
they,
fired
like
was a
Graham
private
said,
PD,
they created
by the
this
way.
because they were being super aggressive, super violent, and this isn't the first time. So it's a consistency of over.
They
the top
advocated for
violence
more
used
too. I
against
thought
individuals.
they got 2 warrants, or they advocated for like a time period that could be like earlier in the day or late. Whereas like I think that was a specification in the article I was reading. It made it seem that like they pushed for a certain time period that would be beneficial for them as well.
Can you drop that article? I want to read that.
Thanks.
But yeah, it's they escalated themselves, and it got so bad that the St. Paul police tried to pull back and say we weren't as involved as people think. So that's the issue. The Minneapolis Police Department escalated this issue beyond its reason, beyond its reason, beyond reason, and because of that, somebody died.
Okay,
So
now we
there
can
needs to be
address
heavy restrictions
Eli's
on the
bad point.
Minneapolis
I just
Police
didn't want to like completely reject what Jay said first. Like we
Bruh.
wanted to actually deal with that. But yeah, what Eli
Yeah,
said
you
was-
talk
was
about
totally
bad
wrong.
points. You got you talk about like police unions. Like you could 100% advocate against police unions for one simple fact. My teachers union that may be shitty. You know what they don't have that the police do? Armored vehicles, guns, and a literal fucking armory. Which if I like my teacher fucks up, they're not gonna fucking roll over a fucking kid or like push down some kid like make us that like nah.
But what
There's
does the
some
distinction mean? What does
It means that this group with the union is not a normal group.
So they
This
shouldn't
group
be
is-
able to advocate for themselves in this role. Like
mean-
you have to justify why
Thing is,
because they have
too
guns,
much.
they can't
They have
advocate for
too
themselves.
much advocacy in their roles. Like I don't know, the entirety of the Republican Party that seems to just lick the boots of cops every chance that they fucking get. Because
I wouldn't even go that far. But like when we're talking about police unions, like if you don't want to get rid of them outright, sure, I'm good with that. But we need to limit their power. Like we need to limit their
fine,
power.
limit their power, sure, at the very
Hold up,
least.
wait, Eli, about that. Like yeah, limit the power at the very least to the point where they can't do shit. Where if like an officer does a bad no and people go after that officer, these unions I want to change it so they're not able to withhold all of like their defensive funds from the entire department. 'Cause that's
It's
what
not.
they
It's
did.
not. It's not the union. That's. It's not unions that are
In
the
Buffalo,
problem.
New,
It's
in
it's the
Buffalo, New York,
department.
that's
It's
it.
the man. It's the
No,
management.
wait,
It's the
Az, you gotta let me
department.
finish. You
It's
gotta let me
the
finish.
police department.
In Buffalo, New York, this is exactly what happened when that old man got pushed down and they cracked his skull open, and that made worldwide news. The
Yeah.
police union came forward and said, "Yo, if y'all don't cover these dudes, we're going to remove like our covering of like that entire fucking department." And that's what caused a bunch of its members to say, "Yo, we're not going out in this. If we're not going to be protected by the union, we're not going out in this." And as a result, it made the police look like they actually supported the two officers who did this, when in reality, statements from the officers themselves said, like, "Yeah, no, we don't support them. We're just leaving because our union's not going to cover us for being
Yeah.
here."
But
So like
again,
that knowledge should be
I
kind of
don't
removed.
want us to focus on the minors. I feel the majors is the police department and the regulations that they withhold. The police department requested for that no-knock search warrant. It wasn't the union.
Right, but the union protects the shitty.
Yeah, the
cops.
union protects,
So
but the
job
union.
of union,
why-
Where
the
has
job
the
of
union
unions
come
is
in at
to
this
pr-
point?
is to
I
I don't
guess-
even know why
guess-
we're talking about unions.
It's not.
I just feel like-
it's
you know,
not-
it's
it's
like-
not- it's not to be
you
judged
know what,
during
what?
executioner, right? Unions,
Well, I was just talking about an
union,
answer to
right?
the
It's supposed
systemic
to
Your
be-
issue
mic's
that
a
is
little
policing.
lower. Top
Yeah,
Dolphin. I think
and-
the gain's a little
Your
lower.
mic's pretty low.
Who, mine?
Who's-
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can hear it. It just sounds more hollowed out, which is why.
Is
the
that
top-
is
Well,
that
okay,
better?
Maybe,
There
you go.
maybe I was a little bit too hasty with the whole police union thing. I was talking about the overall systemic problem of policing. I think could be solved by either getting rid of or in some way, shape, or form neutering the police union that protects the shitty cops. But anyways, go ahead.
But the
Yeah,
problem is
yeah,
you're-
yeah,
you're-
there are
when
some
you go
cases
after
where I
police
agree with
unions,
you,
you're
but-
approaching the issue from the completely
Yes.
wrong side, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Any
fine,
union,
fine.
the job is to like advocate for their workers, right?
Okay, yeah.
Police officers need advocation just like every other worker. The
Yeah,
problem
they
is
do. Yeah,
that
you're
we
right.
have a legal system that when it comes to breaking the law is supposed to hold people accountable. But
Yeah.
the way that police officers are held accountable is using a justice system that they're heavily involved in. So like when a police officer goes for a case, they have they're friends with district attorneys, they're friends with the defense attorneys in the area, they're friends with the judges in the area because their job requires them to be close with a lot of these people. So it's really hard for a police officer to get a fair trial by jury when everybody working who's working on the case are people that they work with. They're their coworkers, right? It's not like nobody else is being tried by their coworkers when they do something wrong. Because I got to tell you, when I mess up at work, right, a lot of times my coworkers back for me because they don't want that responsibility, and that's exactly what police unions are doing. What we need to do is something, and I think the DOJ does this really well. I can't remember what they call it. But they have for military members, they have a separate sort of court that they use to they have a separate court outside of our judicial system that they use to enforce like laws and like rules of engagement and stuff like that for military members. And we should probably have something similar to police because it's absurd that like police officers go through the same justice system as us. But attacking unions is just like not the way we should go about this because we never want to take bargaining and power away from workers.
What, court martials? You meant court
'Cause even
martials?
when you, yeah, because I mean, I guess adding into what Dolphin said, like
It's called the UCMJ. That's what it's called.
Officers need like something to do when they're like we can't say that like, oh, you're not making enough money and you're working 95 hours a week. Like they need to have some way of like advocating for their protection. The sucky thing is usually what also mainly what Top said about like all of these people sort of working together in tandem as part of a union, and being a police officer giving you some sort of privilege in society is seen as like, oh, this is a good person, this is a better person, this is a person that doesn't deserve to be criminalized. And the fact that the reason we consider these unions strong is because usually what unions are in the private sector are generally fighting for is money, when police unions usually fight for protections, and like social protections are generally a lot easier to give than money. So they have like very, very heavy social protections, which again, like some level of limitation is probably fair. But I also agree that a stronger thing is like a stronger internal affairs programs, and probably going through a different type of justice system.
Guys, where did Prime go?
He's taking a shit right now.
Okay, understandable.
The prime side of Dookie.
I don't know. I think like the problems that I see, because you guys are talking about police unions, is just like the amount of corruption. Like it's not, for me, it's not necessarily about like the fact that to unions. Just the just in New York, we have like I was reading a thing in the New York Times. I was talking about like how Eric Adams, who became became New York City's mayor, who is a former like cop, talked about how he's going to do something against cops, etc. He was talking about how he's going to represent the problems that he's going to represent the people's interest against the police, and he hired an old friend, an old colleague, to be somebody that's taking up the highest position for a public official in NYC to like cater to like public safety. And this person was like extremely suspect and was had his hand in so many different pots and managed to escape so many different investigations. And part of those investigations that occurred that had to do with him being a police officer that was engaged with individuals that were part of corruption schemes involved like a leader, the leader of like one of the big police unions that was taking money from the union and then giving it to an individual that was bribing him, that was giving him trips to different countries, giving him trips to different ball games, giving him certain benefits, paying for extravagant meals. This group of two individuals were just looking for clout with the local PD. They wanted to have clout. They wanted to get like some form of like escort service by NYPD for the flex. I would say it's largely for the flex. And then they made the connection through this guy to like the head of one of these NYPD unions, and that guy was like a mooch. And they described him that way on the stand. Like when the federal government came over and they started to investigate these individuals, and one of them went on the stand. That's how they described the leader of this police union. That's how they described this individual, Seabrook Ferragamo. They said, "Oh, this person was a mooch. That's all we really saw him as, is a guy that would come around. He was kind of like a mooch." He denied it. Well, good luck for him. And that's how I see it. Is like, if you are a police officer and you are in like and you do serve the New York City area, imagine if you're giving your money to like this union, and the leadership within your union is taking this and offering this bulwark of money to these individuals that are giving him benefits and favors. Is that what you want? If you give your money to like somebody to invest it for you, like, do you want them to then go off and give it to whoever's giving them the best favors at any given time? Do you want them to live lavish and have a great lifestyle off of the back of your labor? No. So
You know
I see
what?
that as like a level of corruption that's like it's almost cyclical. At least in New York, maybe in LA as well. I'm not sure if it's that way for the whole country.
After Eric lied about being a vegetarian and he eats fish, I don't trust a word he says.
What?
He was a
Pescatarian.
vegetarian for a while. No, he was a vegan for a little bit, and he went on a health phase because he got sick. Like, he even did a whole. I watched it. It was like a whole YouTube, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I agree with Wiggle, but I feel like we have more of an issue with corruption that
Yeah,
goes
that's
along
true,
with
yeah.
these things rather than the actual union itself. Which is why I say, if you start like things like these, are like there's slippery cases where you start to attack one foundation, and then all of a sudden people use those means to attack other foundations, which are not as like we said, the police union is different from the teachers union because police and teachers don't have guns. But the same way you can tackle and take down the police union is very likely the same way. In fact, it has been the same way because unions have been hurt over the past 8 to
Okay,
12,
for a bit.
8 to 13 years.
As
Russia
anyway,
sounds
like,
kind of individual.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, why talk about unions? The real issue we have right now is the police department. It's the police
with
department.
the police department's been protected by union contracts. When
We already had this
this
conversation.
happens, when a thing like this happens, and like a person gets shot, and again, I want to like focus in on that.
Yeah, but taking away protection.
Hold on. Let me
doesn't
finish.
stop
Let me
killing.
finish. Thanks. Great. So, taking away protection. Sorry, not protections. When you are dealing with police officers, right? People will wonder, well, why haven't they been let go of the force? Because maybe they can't. Because maybe they have a contract that says they absolutely can. Maybe have a union that's not going to work with you. That's going to assume that the officers are right every goddamn time. Like, police unions aren't the same as regular unions. You've said that before. Great. Then we've already established that they aren't the same. So they can advocate for themselves as workers within their own environment, but Otherwise, they shouldn't have political influence. Certainly, they should be limited as to the things that they can do, because the police are work for property holders and not necessarily the citizens themselves. So yeah, with these no-knock warrants, though, I was more in favor of keeping them otherwise, because of the possibility that, yeah, there are moments where this could be used, but it would have to be rare. My problem is that, can we trust the police to actually use them rarely? I mean,
No.
yeah. So we have when police are like been militarized, right? Nothing about giving a police like extra hardware necessarily says that that they should use that hardware, right? That military hardware. Like it could be that you give them to them, and then when there's some big terrorist attack, I don't know what the fuck, right? Then they respond accordingly with that. But the moment you give police a tool, they will use it again and again and again. It doesn't matter what the context is.
But just abuse it as many times they get away with it, because and the majority of the time they are going to get away with it.
Well, that's what happened. They abused it, which is why they abused.
I don't know.
It.
This feels really. I don't know. This doesn't feel super useful to me, because again, it comes from the framing of like when we talk about it from a perspective of corruption, it makes it seem individual. It makes it seem like there's in certain people that we can oust, and then the system would work correctly. Like everything would be perfect, and I don't think that necessarily does the whole job. But I also think it's bad to say that like if we give them a weapon, like they're gonna use it and they're gonna maniacally laugh in the corner. Like I don't think
corruption starts with perverse incentives. Somebody doing something that they shouldn't because they know that they can get a benefit from it, and they try it and it works, and then that breeds corruption because you see that other person, you're like, damn, that nigga did that shit, got away with that, and I could do that, and then you do it, and then it breeds more corruption, and it gets to a system where it's like, hey, we all do this thing, so we should make it so that we can't get hurt by this because we're all benefiting this. And you get like what's like a traditional, like a boys club or what have you, or like a thin blue line or whatever it would be.
I don't think corruption and systemic issues are like completely separate. No, you can absolutely have corruption within a systemic problem, but sometimes I think a lot of time when people use it, that's not how they use it. Usually, a lot of time when people see
with police,
they talk about
it could be like this. It's like if you know somebody is doing something shady and they're making extra money and they're a fellow officer, like, and then you also do something shady, and who are you likely going to go to if you need another officer to help you? You're going to go to the person that you also know is doing something shady because you have dirt on them, and then now you have an avenue to work with that person. And so this is just a network of making money. It's like if I'm somebody that wants to buy something that's illegal, like an illegal drug, maybe I go to some guy that sells weed because I want something else, like I want coke, and I go to the person who sells weed because I'm like, well, that guy's not gonna rat on me if I'm looking for coke, and I'm gonna ask him if he knows somebody who sells coke. And next thing you know, they might be like, let me know when you find someone who sells coke, and then you get like a network.
This is like a birds of a feather analogy.
Yeah,
got you. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Is there something you want to tell us? I'm just kidding.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I really hate talking about the corruption because it gets past the problems that even like when it comes to systemic issues, even when all the systems are working as like written or whatever, like they still produce bad outcomes, and that's like one of the big problems with systemic issues. When it comes to corruption, I mean, I think I kind of addressed earlier, like one of like when you were talking about things, it's like who are people going to go to? Or like if you have like a really good thing you kind of touch on is like if a cop wants to report another cop, who do they go to, right? And they usually have to go to somebody in the department, and it's like that's like a really tough thing to do because like there's like really high relation in smaller towns. Like a lot of these people might be the same, and that's why it's really important, I think, to have like third party body to regulate police, to be like in charge of like reprimanding them and stuff like that, so police have a safe place where they can go.
Internal affairs exists, but like it probably should be like a broader thing. Like
you say internal affairs. But internal affairs is a joke, okay? When it comes to police officer, right? Now, like the FBI Office of Internal Affairs might be different, but that's because they don't have a lot of the problems. They do have some problems, don't get me wrong, but they don't. The FBI actually doesn't have a lot of the problems that our local and state police systems have. And the internal affairs might be an example of this. The Office of Internal Affairs for like a small city police officer might be the fucking deputy, right? It might be the cop who's doing the problem, or his brother or something like that. Internal affairs officers offices, quote unquote, might be one dude in the department who's supposed to investigate other people when it comes up. It's not like it's this whole third party organization outside of the police force. They're investigating themselves.
They also investigate. They investigate like corruption from a different viewpoint, right? So it's like if the FBI is coming to investigate like your police department on some form of corruption, their goals in mind will be different than like your own police department investigating corruption of like local officials. So it's like that scope of it is kind of interesting as well.
Yeah.
So
But I think
I was gonna say that like Philip Banks, the person who became the deputy mayor, was investigated by he was an unindicted co-conspirator. He was investigated by the FBI and Internal Affairs, etc. He resigned.
Uncle Phil.
Oh,
Uncle Phil.
He ended up becoming like appointed deputy mayor of New York City. And one of the first thing he did was fire the person that investigated him when he was getting investigated. That was his first action. And so it's like, there you go. Like, that's like come on. That's like, we do have a problem. We do have a problem with like corrupt officials. And I would say that problem with corrupt officials 100% can slide into like your police departments. Like if you're within your police department and your police department's in bed with like local officials, and there's corrupt local officials, and we know there's corruption with like our elected officials, it's really hard for that police officer to say, I'm gonna go to the people within my department who are like higher up, who are the people most likely to be in bed with like the local government. You know?
Right now, my city's dealing with something literally just that. It's like we have this like fucking speed camera taxing scam going on. And you could Google it, Buffalo, New York. We've been having this going on for years, and people have been complaining about it. But the only people who can like actually do something about it are in law enforcement, which are in bed with our city council, which love, riding the dick of our mayor, which we elected for 5th time, unfortunately. So it's just like, there's not really a way for this system of corruption to break out of itself. Like, we tried electing someone in, like, that the people actually love, and she lost. Like, because the nigga wrote himself in. And I'm actually willing to hear an answer, like, yo, when the corruption runs that deep, what do you do? Because it doesn't, like, for me, living through this, it doesn't seem like there's a viable answer. Like, yo, our police unions are corrupt, and that's all linked to the city council and shit, and it's, like, all the way to the top.
I still don't like this framing of, and I actually think Wiggle's kind of saying a lot of the things that I was saying earlier, but I really don't like the framing of this as like corruption, right? Because when you frame, and I think it might have been Bam who said this earlier, when you frame it as corruption, you frame it as like, oh, we got all of these individuals who are just being greedy, and we can't like stop them, right? Or we need to stop these individuals. When a lot of times this is a systemic problem. The pipelines that people take to get into places of power and stuff like that, and also the people who are holding people accountable for certain things, all have relationships with each other, and it's part of the
corruption not a systemic issue.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, like
they're not completely counted.
I don't know if it is, or like maybe the way you're talking about it is, but generally, if you say you have like a corrupt person, the solution is to get rid of the corrupt people. But I don't think necessarily that like the corruption in this case is people. I think I don't think it's as simple as like, oh, these are all a bunch of bad actors, or maybe they are, some of them are bad actors, but I think a bigger like view on the problem is that, hey, these people, by the nature of the job they have, like the way that it's set up, are going to have relationships with each other, right? People who run for public offices and stuff like that often start as police officers, right? People who work as prosecuting attorneys, people who work as judges often work closely with police officers because it's the nature of their job. This needs to exist.
So I do not want any apologia. I like for me it's like it's one thing if I was like, all right, let's say somebody did an illegal drug and they became addicted. I would look at that differently than looking at an individual that's in law enforcement that plays to a perverse incentive that puts the people they're supposed to protect and serve under some level of like harm. Like I would look at them differently where I would agree with you that if it was a cancer and we removed this cancer, it would just end up coming back if we don't solve the reasons why it happened in the first place. But I wouldn't want any apologia for the people that took part in these actions because I would see it differently than somebody that is an addict that did something illegal and then started to become addicted to some illegal substance or what have you. I think of this as much different. I think of this as these are choices these people are making every single day. These choices they could decide not to do. It's not like they're stuck in that system. If you're in a form of corruption, getting money from different specific avenues as a police officer, like what is stopping you from saying no is what you being like ostracized, you being kicked out or what have you, but you also have dirt on everybody. And just like you described, the FBI would be willing to listen to you. The strongest body within the United States would then say, hey, come speak to us. Tell us everything you know. So it's like from my position, I think of it differently. I think of it as like, I agree with what you're saying, but I wouldn't want any apologia. I want these people to answer for their crimes.
I feel like what you said, it just speaks to exactly why, like, I feel like this framing of the conversation is irrelevant because this I don't think this is the normal case. It's not about dirty cops. It's not about bad people. When we're speaking specifically to the case we're talking about right now, nothing these cops did was illegal. Nothing these cops did was dirty or out of left field, but it was still wrong. And it's not wrong because they're bad people. It's wrong because the correct way for the system the correct way for the system the situation to play itself out was inherently flawed. Like nothing. It wasn't anything that these cops if with better cops would have made the situation better. This is they followed protocol. The protocol sucks.
So Nakima
Yeah,
Armstrong, this is who was.
Okay, I think you're about to go off topic, so let me just say something really quick. I think I agree with you, Bam. It's about the infrastructure that's in place for like they're like you said, like they did things correct or I guess by the book, but like the fact that his name wasn't on the warrant. Okay, if this person's name's on the warrant, why are you knocking on their door, right? Maybe that's a clerical error, right? Like there's something that's missing. There's steps that are or precautions. There's checks that aren't being taken, I think, that led to unfortunately this person's death.
So I want to push back. One, I don't know if everything we said that like procedures were like followed or whatever. I don't know if they followed all the rules in this case. Specifically when it comes to like shooting the guy. Now the problem is some of these rules are like it's the officer's discretion, which then kind of gets fucked up. But like the guy when he shot him, he wasn't, from the video that I saw, he didn't look like that much of a threat. And like he definitely like was too quick to pull the trigger. However, the rules do create create these circumstances to happen when they don't need to.
Yeah, because I don't think we would ever I don't think we would ever create. We would want to live in a society where we create a situation where we're held to the standard of where's the finger position in regard to the trigger while it's gun. Like I think that's asking for superheroes. But I do think that we should create situations where it doesn't have to be that gun pointed in there in the first place.
Well, that was the point. Like the reason St. Police are trying to pull back is because the Minneapolis Police Department they overstepped. They did all the right things. They got the no-knock warrant, through all the right means. It's just that they overstepped, and they overstepped the human rights of the individual that they walked in on. Like, the reason why Nakima Armstrong is calling it a cover-up is because they thought they would get away with it. This is her wording. They would get away with it because she's a black teen. Or because Amir was a black teen. They thought it would just get swept under the rug. And they didn't foresee that the parents and everybody would come together. Ben Krug and what was it? Ben, who's the who's
Director of HUD, Ben Carson?
Ben Crump.
No, not Ben Carson.
Oh,
Ben
Ben
Crump.
I just heard Ben.
They didn't know that it would get this much spotlight. So that's why it was
Marsha Fudge is
the anatomy of a cover-up.
I don't know. Like, well, I mean, if it's a cover, Well,
Because
I
they
didn't know.
literally
But
tried to name him as a suspect.
Yeah.
So they said they were warranted. They tried to say he had his finger on the gun.
They
tried
said
to,
that there was a cop that was off that you couldn't see that the gun was pointed towards, and that
yeah, they were
that
trying
was
to say that they
justifying.
were at risk. They're trying to call him a
Did
suspect.
he crawl underneath the goddamn sofa?
They were
Like,
saying that,
yeah.
like, yeah, you're saying that the cop, like, the person had their gun pointed in a direction that was like towards the ground, and that their
Yeah.
finger was off
They
the
didn't
trigger.
think they
However,
didn't think the deconstruction
Give me
of
a
this
shot of
case
that you
would
can
be so
find.
the
heavy.
cops are saying that, like, that there was a cop that was off screen, through footage that Top Dolphin saw. I didn't see. I just read.
That's you're lying. That's
And-
Hold on,
They're
let him
lying.
finish. Let him finish so we can hear what he's
Yeah,
saying.
and so they're using that to justify that, like, there was a fear there. I think that the big elephant in the room that, like, is leading to a lot of this is that if you're a cop in this city, you're going to always fear that every day could lead to, like, a riot based on what you do. So these cops are going into the situation, and I imagine a part of what they're thinking when they're doing a no-knock warrant is this whole thing, I want to do it in such a way that I don't have another George Floyd situation, and not because of the individual George Floyd, because of the riots that happened in their city after. So I assume
They
that
didn't
would
need-
play into some level of corruption or some level of extra precautions taken. So I'd agree with, like, Jay Cook to an extent, where there could be police officers there who are extremely careful, who are sitting there and they're like, I do not want that to happen to me. I do not want to be responsible for anything. And then there could be the cop that shot this person who perhaps didn't think of this, didn't take the extra precaution. And now there's probably a group of police officers and an administration that's saying, shut your mouth, let us handle this. We don't want our city to burn, you know?
But
And that could lead to
why
corruption.
go through with a
hold
no-knock
up. If
warrant if you're trying
if
to
you're-
avoid that?
Yeah, and if you're scared that, like, every day with something you do could lead to a George Floyd situation, then I don't know, maybe you just shouldn't fucking be a cop.
Well,
Yeah,
that's the thing. That's the thing is that
maybe that's a bit neo-lib of
we
me,
can
but
we can say that, but that's the reality of what I imagine they're living through. So, like,
Okay.
I understand what you're saying because I don't live in that city and I'm not a cop. So, but I can understand that is probably the fear that these people would be fearing. This is what they're like. This is what the people who work with them, the people above them, are going to be telling
So
them.
are you
every day.
saying? So are you then segueing to a point of that we should train cops better so that they don't fear for their lives whenever they see a person that's just slightly
You
darker
can't
than?
take
I'm not
away
really
you can't
segueing. I'm
train
just
the fear away.
explaining that, like,
I mean,
there's
well,
got to
that's kind of where that point. I feel like that point
Yeah.
leads, though.
Is there,
maybe
is there a
that's what it
problem with
leads
that
to,
point
but I wouldn't
leading
take
there,
credit
though?
for that.
Because training cops better would be a great.
I
thing.
think it segues to that, but I wasn't really like I wouldn't take credit for that. That's not what I was doing. I was just saying, like, there's a historical context
Yeah.
that should be added to the situation because
Yeah,
it's
but
not just
it's
it's
a bit
not just
irrelevant. It's a bit
I-
irrelevant.
how's
as
it
he's
irrelevant?
As he actually has a point here, because, like, the one point we keep missing is that, like, while I can buy 100% what you're saying here, the fact
Yeah.
that, like, this police department did advocate for it against, like, the wishes of, like, some of the higher ups.
But
For some reason, this police department did. So I have to ask myself why, and that's a question that's not been answered.
How is it?
But-
You cannot. How can you say it's irrelevant?
Because they already put.
I wouldn't go that far. I was just
They-
going on
they-
his previous
like,
point.
Because it's a bit obvious to the point. What they put restrictions.
You're the one arguing
on
that
no-
there's corruption. So wouldn't the best case for proving that there's a level of corruption is that, like, there's an undue burden on these police officers that would make them be corrupt because they fear, like, a consequence that's larger? Like, they would fear, like, well, damn, we gotta lie about this. We have to do a cover up because it's not just our careers; it's like our entire city. Like,
No, they're doing it. They're doing the cover up because it's a bit lazy and they think they're not going to get caught. I don't think it's a cover up because it's a fear of another riot.
Yeah,
If they were truly afraid of riots, they would be clean cut. They would be
Yeah,
the best
exactly.
officers that they
Yeah,
could
but
be.
the person's dead. Like, at that point in time,
Because
you're
they
the
get
opposite.
away with killing
Yeah.
black people all the
but-
time.
I'm saying-
Literally, they joke during training sessions. There's this guy named Bo of the Fifth Borough, right?
Oh.
And
Bo
he-
the fifth
Go to
column.
the fifth column.
Oh, the fifth column, excuse me. And he used to train police, and he talked about how you're supposed to go through certain, procedures before doing this. And the cop says, "Well, I'm the one writing the writing up what's happening. What if I just beat him behind his kneecaps? And he's never gonna
And
be
as
anything.
like the punishment would be different. Like, the state of killing a black individual in this way today versus 5 years ago, you would agree the punishment you'd face would be different. The way the scrutiny that you'd be under is different. So what I'm
Because we're
arguing
in
is that
different time. I just feel like we're in different
Wiggle,
times.
I just want to hear what Wiggle's arguing, and then you can
once
respond.
this person's dead on the ground, the reality that they're going to be placed in is this is a consequence, and this is far worse than it was in 2016, 2015. They're going to be like, this is terrible. Oh my god, like, fuck, I'm going to have to deal. Even if you believe that they don't care that the person's dead, they're going to be sitting there thinking, fuck, I have to answer for this because every other officer is going to look at me like I fucked them over. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true, but that's just indicative of the times we're in now.
Exactly.
It's more
bringing historical context of like the
yeah,
time.
but historically, they would get away with it, which is what I'm saying. They killed a black teen and they thought they would get away with it because historically they killed black people all the time and get away with it. And they gave the bare minimum and started lying because they didn't think there'd be such a magnifying glass. We wouldn't break down and deconstruct everything they did. They didn't think
that's the part I have a problem with. In 2022, not 2022, but you think they wouldn't they deconstruct it after the last couple of years?
Huffman and the mayor got up there and they fumbled. The mayor didn't know what was going on. Huffman was clearly saying things that weren't true. That's the reason Armstrong got up in the first place and said, you guys are covering this up. And it is not the Minneapolis Police Department has a history. That's why she was hired in the first place, to better conditions. So it's not that I want to focus on the Minneapolis Police Department because they themselves escalated this beyond the point where they didn't need to, and they thought they would get away with it. Like, the only reason they probably escalated is because they probably didn't want to waste time, and they probably wanted to go after something easy, and they didn't want to be held accountable. They wanted to just get evidence and get out. They didn't want to waste time with a regular search warrant. Like, they took advantage.
What you're saying doesn't make any sense. They don't want to waste time with a regular search warrant. What does that even mean? You go through the same. You go through the same processes, if not stricter process, to get a no-knock warrant, right?
It's not about the process. It's about the fact that they wanted to get in and get out. They were being lazy.
No, okay.
I think you guys are talking about two different things.
Okay?
Top Dolphin. It's
I
not.
I get what he's saying. I get what he's saying. The idea that they didn't want to go through the process of knocking on someone's door because it saved them 5 minutes is absolutely not why they got a no-knock warrant.
I can only assume this because St. Paul. I can only assume that because the St. Paul Police Department wanted a regular search warrant.
We could use our fucking brain, Azzy, right? And we could say, hey, why might they want a no-knock warrant in this case? Maybe it was because I believe someone even said it earlier, because there was a specific piece of evidence that was located at this location that they wanted to get.
That led to the arrest of his cousin.
They wanted the evidence.
That actually led to the arrest of someone for murder, right?
And
there's more. There's more not to be destroyed or gotten rid of, right?
The argument was that it's based off of somebody dying. So somebody died. They know the weapon that killed the person, and so they wanted it to be as safe as possible for themselves. So the cops were arguing from the behalf of this is safer for me, and then on top of that, they argued for a specific time period. So they pushed for it because they believed it would be safer for the police officers themselves, because this person was already known to have a weapon that they were trying to get evidence in their place. So if they ended up with a confrontation, they already knew that this person would be armed, but there was Amir Locke there and not the person.
Are you saying that based upon what you've read, or are you saying that based upon you're coming to your own conclusion?
What I've read. It's not my own conclusion. I don't know how police would function, and I told you I don't have a firearm, so how would I know? I don't have. I'm just I'm working off what I read in articles. If you want to tell me that they said something differently, I would gladly take what you would have to say. I don't have a stake in it.
Yeah, I'm being uncharitable, and I'm speculating the other. I'm speculating.
You asked for my sources. I gave you my sources.
Yeah, I know. I have the sources. I didn't get through all of them yet. But the reason I was speculating I am being uncharitable because there's a history of them being uncharitable to us. So I don't always give cops the benefit of the doubt. They ran in, killed the teen, lied about it, and someone had to get up and hold them accountable.
So
Like this could be just another. This could just be another case that we never hear about. That's the point. That's the point I'm trying to make. There is a disregard of a human's rights. And there's disregard of the humanity of the individual. So,
So,
like,
I completely agree. That's why I like every time people try to like down like body cams, I think that you're a complete idiot. Like even if they're not a perfect solution, like body cams have like brought a different higher degree of accountability than we've seen before. And I think body cams still aren't as widespread as they need to be. I think there's still like a lot of places that's not, but that should definitely be a standard. We shouldn't know everything. Like when you were on the job, like we should know what's going on. Because if we didn't have that footage,
it's a dumb argument. It's like me saying like, we shouldn't have like any Adderall or Ritalin or anything for ADHD because it's not a cure. It's just it's just a treatment, and you're not gonna solve the problem. So I guess you shouldn't get medication. Like any of those, you shouldn't get like body cams are wholly good. And then people will also give the argument where they'll be like, aha, you like body cams? Well, guess what? It actually leads to more safety with police because they find out that a lot of these claims are false, as if that's going to make you be like, oh no, it doesn't hurt police, take it away. It's like, no, like body cams are good. Like there's something that we should pay for. I mean, it's something that we should have, and it's something that all cops should have the ability to.
But I think this harkens back kind of to what Jay Cook was saying the other day. Is that it's just earlier, which was that we do these things like ban the no-knock warrants, what have you, but it doesn't fix the overall systemic problems. Like, yeah, they're good, don't get me wrong, but again, like we've seen shit where body cam footage literally shows us this guy was just clapped
first few minutes,
just like on site, just clapped.
They didn't say drop your weapon.
Put the footage. Put the thing
not even just with this case. I'm talking about like other cases too. Like I'm pretty sure there have been. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but like there have been other cases where we've seen cops just come up, not even on body cams, just like dash cams and shit too, where cops just come up, pow pow pow, just instantly, dude's out. Like it, and then these cops still don't go to jail because a corrupt system. So like
sometimes they don't, but like other times they do. The only reason I'm about to say the only reason that what you call it? Oh, crap, it's in my state too. What crap? The most recent arrest we had, conviction we had.
Ahmaud Arbery.
Ahmaud Arbery. Yes, the only reason that we had.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, the only reason we dealt with we got Ahmaud Arbery was because of video evidence. Like the case, it was already dismissed.
I was gonna say because those two were so stupid that they literally
they posted the video themselves committing a murder. But so that's what I'm saying. Like this is what me and Will was saying. Like you were saying that sometimes footage doesn't work. Like sure, sometimes footage doesn't work.
And but footage does help us bring people to justice, or at least get other people, like everyday people, to see, hey, these guys are fucking assholes and they need to be reeled in for their assholery.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just that like we watched murders. Like there's also a large reality that we've probably something we'll never be able to notice in real time, is that there's probably an extra level of de-escalation because cops, knowing that they're on footage, are probably on the slightly better behavior.
No, but they're not. Like that's the thing.
But that you'll never know because those cases you're not going to hear about. If a cop doesn't do something, it's not going to be on video. Like you're not going to hear about it.
Fair enough. But at first, cops hated having cameras, right? When they first introduced, they can't stand it, and I think there might be just a period where they actually rethink themselves instead of like, I'll just pull the trigger. The way think. But we've seen there are articles talking about how now prosecutors and cops love the cameras because the cameras they can direct the cameras to where they want. And it's easy enough to just hide the things that they don't want. So they can help. The cameras can help them increase prosecutions, while not actually changing much of their behavior. So there was an incident talking about how this cop was kicking the shit out of I think he turned off his camera, right? And was kicking the shit out of this kid on the ground. And this other cop, this bike cop, came across the corner, and as soon as he saw that, backed up. right? Why? Because his camera was on. And they get it. They get it. And the cameras mysteriously turn off all the time.
The
And,
camera is still
and when
good.
you need the footage, right? All of a sudden, there's all this red tape that comes out of nowhere, and we can't hand it over for a year plus, right? Like, that's why and we didn't really get to it, but that's why I was trying to say that, it's a bit of a excuse me,
Double-edged sword.
Sorry, what?
Double-edged sword.
Double-edged.
In a way, yeah.
More of a
Not double-edged.
yeah, not double-edged sword, more like a band-aid for a gaping wound, because yes, it's true, there is like, there's no way that it can't be helpful, right? Like, having more information, right, even if it's skewed, is better than not having any, right? Like, having more footage of the situation is more useful, like with the Ahmaud Arbery thing, right? And that was just because, like, the perpetrators actually took it, right? They weren't actually cops. The perpetrators decided to take it. That made a difference. So I hear that, but I guess my issue is that it turns, when you have these moments, these political moments where something needs to be done, right? Something needs to be done. Well, what we reach for at that moment matters, because that's a moment, right? These political crises is a moment where something can finally happen, right? So, but what's on the table? If what's on the table is not actual comprehensive police reform, right? And instead, what's on the table is just, well, let's keep the police as they are and simply, like, watch them, right? Let's just add a technological solution on top of it, right? Well, then it's not going to solve the systemic issue. It's not going to solve anything. So when it's like there's a crisis here, and maybe in terms of the Amir Locke situation, right? And maybe they'll block the no-knock warrants. Did no-knock warrants actually kill this guy, right? They could have knocked, busted down his door, and executed him, right? Like, the police operating as they are is what killed him. And so I like, when we talk about these, like, tiny reforms, these ever so slight reforms, I'm unimpressed. This is what we got through the Obama administration, like, with their police panels, right? I was unimpressed by that. And the cities that went through the Obama administration, what was the name for them? You know, the city.
I just know what it was like, you got, like, people from these cities that were, like, community members that had to work alongside their, like, they had to work alongside the police department. The police department had to ask them, or tell them, inform them before they made certain decisions. It's like a monitor or something to that extent. I can't remember. And it was under, like, Eric Holder, who was, like, the AG at the time. Who, like, created.
The point is that there was a program under Barack Obama to help deal with these cities, right? And Minneapolis is part of that, right? Minneapolis was part of this, and then you still have these tragedies happen, like, because we're asking the police. Oftentimes we're asking the police, how can we reform the police? We're not actually reaching deeper. And so if it just comes down to giving like, not doing anything to rethink policing at its core, then we're just gonna fail. It's just gonna fail. We're gonna be back here again, right? Looking for another fix. At some point, we'll get body cameras on all of them, and then what? We'll watch the murders. We'll have a front row seat to murders, right? And which we can play for entertainment on news. But are we actually accomplishing anything?
I mean, the reality is there's no such thing as a solution. We're talking about a never-ending fight. Like, we'll never hit a point where we know, like, oh, we solved policing. Like, now there's never nothing bad ever happens again.
Enough, that's true. It's like a part of it is, like, wealth, right?
Never
We acknowledge that, like,
Wait.
wealthy.
What do you mean that there's no solution?
I'm saying that
Jay.
all we can do is make changes to do things better, but there's no
Litigation.
Part of
endpoint.
it, a
There's
part
no
of it you
solution.
acknowledge is like the wealthier you are, the better like response you're getting from police. So if like the
Yeah,
wealthier
but that
your
doesn't matter if
country,
you're black.
but if you're a wealthy black person, Kendrick Lamar's experiences with the police are far different than yours or ours. So it's like having wealthier
That's not
people
just
within your
wealth. That's
country.
notoriety. Because I'm about to say,
That's if they
a
know
nigga in a
you,
Mercedes
they
is
like you.
so
they'll
nigga in a
Why is that
Mercedes.
notoriety not like? Why is he not just famous? Why does it have to be a negative? Why is
Because
it
if they
being-
know you and like you, or they revere you, they'll
Okay,
treat you
well,
differently.
How many
That's
white
different.
cops you think
I
know who
get-
Kendrick are? Let's be
but
real.
what if you're in a
Like,
rich neighborhood and you're also wearing like a Rolex?
They don't like
you
Meek
also
Mill.
have, like,
Meek Mill got tons of money. They arrested him.
alright.
R.
No,
Kelly.
What happened to him?
R. Kelly.
There are plenty of black people with tons. Bill Cosby, plenty of black people
Yeah.
with money.
And what
Why you
happened?
gotta
What
get
happened?
arrested?
What happens to
Why you
them?
gotta be
What
Bill
happened?
Cosby, no, Bill Cosby
When
got away
these
for it as long. That's the opposite example. Bill Cosby got away with it as long as he did because of his notoriety. His notoriety is not just wealth. Although class is obviously a factor, but I'm just saying. Like,
I'm just my
nigga
main
been-
point was just that
I think what Wiggles trying to say
the
is
more
like,
wealthier people are in your country, the more they're likely to look at the police and be like, "Yeah, this is not gonna fly." And it seems like the individuals that are having these experiences largely don't have that power. They don't have that wealth power. They don't have.
Because
the
you can
ability to
afford
control
better
it.
advocacy and within the criminal justice system.
So even if people make problems with they say there's a problem with inequality, they say there's a problem with these different things, as long as you have the money to afford representation, or you have the ability to get better representation, and you have like a certain level of lifestyle, you're probably going to not get these situation with the police, which is unfortunate, but it means that this is not like an eternal problem. This is not something that can't be solved. This is something that we see is solved in certain communities and not solved in others.
I still guarantee you, if Kanye or Dr. Dre or Kendrick was underneath those covers, they would have still walked in and shot that man or that individual. You know, it's
Wait,
with
no.
it's
If
money,
it was
money.
Kanye,
influence.
if it was Kanye or Kendrick Lamar, I don't think they would have been there because they wouldn't have busted the door down because it's Kanye or Kendrick Lamar who live in like giant fucking mansions.
Yes.
Probably wouldn't be
I
there
mean,
anyway.
but not all rich people. Not all rich people
But-
live
but-
with.
but-
And I'm just saying within the circumstance. I'm not gonna get semantics, into like
you can
where
see,
they are. If this person was
also,
in this
Amir
situation,
was wrapped in a
Or-
blanket, so like
he was wrapped in a
I
blanket.
mean, yeah, like so.
So
if
it
you're-
doesn't
if
matter
you're
how much
switching
money
out
you
the
have.
Negro, if you're just switching out the black person, like they're still gonna get shot because like how am I supposed
Yeah,
to know?
but they
Like
knew.
you know,
they
what, never mind.
knew-
This is a dumb point. This is a dumb point. This is a dumb point. I think this point is dumb. Never mind. Forget it. I didn't say anything. I don't feel like going down.
It's good you caught yourself
I mean,
in real
they,
time.
they
I
knew
don't
who the
mature.
apartment-
So,
I'm just saying.
real
No, it wasn't me who made the dumb point. I'm just saying this is just. I don't even think this point is like
No,
relevant.
too
I don't even think
late.
this point is really
You know,
all that relevant.
TikTok is listening. But I'm playing with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen. Go ahead. Keep talking. I just don't think this point is relevant. But nobody else is cutting you off, so never mind.
I'm just saying that within the moment, it doesn't matter how much money you have. If the police officers don't revere you, they don't care about you, they will still shoot you or arrest you.
No, it
And
definitely matters how much money you have. Like,
the result is
I
the
think
result
we
that
can be like
matters.
both. Like we can
Wait,
say
wait.
that like there are probably cases
You have
in
no-
which like class plays into it, and like they're like having more notoriety or more wealth as like a black person probably does help you with the police a little bit. But
So
there are
what
also
examples can you
situations out
point
there.
to? What
but
examples
there are
can you
also
point to?
situations where being a wealthy black person doesn't matter.
Okay, so that's all. Yeah, thank you. That's all the point was. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes it does, but I just haven't seen any circumstances where police treat you differently unless they like you.
Seen several
I just-
instances of it.
Like
People
if you
who
can,
Well,
people
I
who
did see a
are give an example. People who happen to be friends with higher ups in city councils and shit. I've seen a lot of people just get pulled over and they hit the police officer with the hey, call your captain and ask him for District Attorney Bob Gunderson. And then the officer comes back and is like, "Oh, I'm sorry about that. Please be on your way." There are instances of people in higher
so
up
that's
positions
Shabam's
in life,
fucking
or like with
hilarious,
wealthy
dude.
people, where they get let off. Yeah.
so then
There
that's
was-
Saddam's point.
There was
did
there was
I
that
did skip-
I played it on stream a few times. There's that those white officers who stopped that black woman motorist. Wiggle, you must remember this because I played this a few times, right? Stopped that black female motorist, and like they were asking her, what are you doing, and all that, right? Giving her the usual treatment, and then she pulls out her identification, and she's like the state attorney's general.
Yes, she's trying to get off.
And you could hear their assholes clenching at that point in time, like, we just came because maybe the windows were tinted up. Maybe this is just kind of standard procedure. And she was like, give me badge numbers, and they were like,
She was black?
I'm sorry. Yeah, she was black.
Yeah,
she was black.
Yeah, thank you, Prime. Like, this raises my point. Like,
That's to Bam's point, and that's to my point and Wiggle's point. If she had never pulled out that identification, they would have treated that woman terribly, if not, even worse, death or incarceration. That's all I'm saying. If they can't identify you, or if you don't have the notoriety, I mean, I'm speaking too fast. If you don't have the connections or the network, and if they don't revere you, they're going to treat you like a black person in America.
But I feel odd about this because it's like, I agree. There's systemic racism, there's racism, etc. It's like, in my mind, it's like the reason why they say that you're having certain crimes is because of what, like poverty, and then there's crimes of opportunity that leads to people to committing violent crimes. So if people were more wealthy as a whole, there'd be less violent crimes as a whole, and then there'd be less of a reason to assume that somebody that is black would be violent. So the police saying I was in fear of my life would be immediately devalued, because nobody would be fearing black individuals. Even if they were racist, they wouldn't be fearing for their life.
Because we have more pull in the system.
Maybe. That's so different from us. That's so different from the world that we currently live in.
You're right.
It's almost impossible to imagine. Cause I'm like, if black people, if we had money, would we still would they not find something else? I have no idea. Probably, maybe not. I don't know. That's just a very different world.
I don't know if you only allow cops who live within the community police that community and everybody knows each other. They're able to control their system. They're able to control who is hired. They're the hiring managers for the police department. They're the ones who their tax dollars are staying within the community. A lot of times these cops, which is like this situation now, these cops don't live in the community, and those tax dollars are being funneled out. They don't know anybody there. So that's why they treat people differently, because they have no ties. There's no reason for them to treat the community members right.
Okay, all right. So it's that time. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. We are going to go to our we're going to go to something. We might go to something different now. That's happening. Okay. Yeah. I'm getting DMs, and we might have something very different for you. Very shortly. So stick around for that.
I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna escalate very quickly. So stick around. Stick around. Hit that follow button if you haven't done so yet. If you're just finding this channel, been enjoying this content, or aggravated at us, right? Hit that follow button, because we got more reasons to aggravate you in the future, right? You will love to hate us, right? Especially some of us are better at that than others. So anyway, I'm not saying any names. We're gonna go on to our next segment. But yeah, hit that follow button if you haven't done so yet.
Do we get outros? Oh, just some of the dumb shit people say.
Yeah, you're the outro, right? Exclamation point social in chat for our social media. Follow us on Twitter for tweets. YouTube is where you find the VODs. So like, comment, subscribe, consider becoming a YouTube member. Hitting that join button, supporting us that way. If you like having the YouTube around, and making sure you have videos there all the time will help us pay for that YouTube our YouTube editor and all that, the work that goes into that. So assist us by becoming a YouTube member, or giving directly to the channel here, one or the other. But it's much appreciated. And then, of course, Discord is the heart and soul of the community, right? We have all kinds of conversations happening there, online, offline, political, non-political. We love to have you. Come on in, join, and I'll see you then. All right, so I'm going to give an outro to these individuals, and we'll see what's in store for us in the next segment. But again, thank you all for coming through. Much appreciated. And this turned out to be a better conversation than I thought it was going to be when I started, actually. Well,
You're welcome.
No. Anyway, we'll go to Bam. Black American Made. Thank you for coming through. You did not infuriate me the way you usually do.
Because I'm changing you. I'm growing you up. I'm getting you these better positions.
Okay.
I'm telling you. Like, yeah. So another debate of me flexing my intellectual superiority. Everyone is now a little bit smarter now, just from sharing my presence. So I was glad to do this with y'all. But yeah, I'm super. Yeah, it was always super good. I always enjoy this. Bring me back and tell me what's happening, because I'm curious.
You'll find out momentarily. I'm still working on it. All right, thank you so much. Black American Made, seriously, a great guest, great panelist. I'm happy to have him around. He's a cool dude, right? Okay. Mad Latin. Oh boy. Thank you for the 1,000 bits. Much appreciated. Moving on. Azzy, hey Azzy, thanks for being here. Thanks for coming through. Thanks for being taking Ban's place as the build of the panel. But Azzy, I love you, right? Azzy, if I didn't love you, I wouldn't send you invites, right? I love having Azzy around. Like, I don't know, I think you're a cool dude. So I appreciate you coming, taking time out of your day, because you could be doing other things. So thank you.
It's strange, right? You say love, but I have never seen somebody get muted on a closed panel, bro.
It happens.
And there's so many, it happens, but it doesn't happen enough. And there's so many times when I'm off panel and I watch people say some of the utmost nonsense and they never get muted. So this is a strange love.
Saying nonsense when it gets you doesn't get a person muted, or
some people nonsense is
all I have
special.
to say is I love, like, the only diatribes I like are Wiggles, because he's not a dickhead about it, and it's funny. All right. And he doesn't listen, that's all, you know. Bam doesn't go off. He stays focused to the question. Shout out to my man for staying on topic. Jay Cook, she brings the facts. She's cooking us. So I appreciate that. You know, I appreciate you, Monty. Pyro and Dolphin, please don't interrupt me with nothings no more from this moving forward. Please don't interrupt me with nothings no more. If y'all want to be funny on your own time. Don't cut me off for that funny, because that stuff is whack. I'll be honest, bro. You gotta chill with that. But
When you leave the door unlocked.
I came, I saw. I praise the Lord. I broke the law. All right. Shout out to you. If you know, you know. Appreciate y'all. Oh yeah, and he gave Riri a baby to give y'all a hint.
Oh shit. Fuck. Reminds me of something. Never mind. Thank you.
Nothing in my brain.
Lord, pretty Flacco Jodway.
Okay. The next person will not be Wiggle, right? That's by tradition at this point, really, I think. The next person will be Jay Cook, who's
I'm
not
saying
prepared at all
something
for that.
conservative? Damn.
Jay Cook, Jay Cooksnada, thank you for coming through and being a part of this. How are you?
I'm doing great, you know.
When did I say how are you?
Let's
Spent all this time with me.
Wiggle. Oh, yeah. You guys can follow me at my Twitter or my Twitch at jcooksnada. Everyone here, you guys don't have to say my name. I know it's a mouthful. You can just call me Jay. Yeah, you know, some people don't talk for 8 miles, and we get that, and they get straight to the point, and we love to hear it. That's it. Good night. Bye.
Shots fired.
No tea, no shade. No tea, no shade.
Okay. All right. We'll have to leave that alone. Top Dolphin. All right. You handsome bastard. Top Dolphin, thanks for being here. Thank you for your ridiculous camera angles. We love them so much, right? Like, I wouldn't know what to do if I didn't see you, right? From, like, this angle, like, up here at your forehead, right? If I ever saw you straight on, well, it's good because you would break the internet with your sex appeal. So, thank you, Top Dolphin, for coming through.
You know what? I would address that and some of the stuff as he said, but there's more important things to be said. All right, I'm Top Dolphin, Twitch.tv Top Dolphin. I'm gonna rant until Prime tells me to shut the fuck up. All of these people coming on this panel saying dumb shit about cops, they're all fucking stupid. There's plenty of things we can do. We need, that we can advocate for. We don't really need people to like live in communities to police them. Every other country in the world has this figured out. We need ways to hold them accountable by like having separate justice systems. We need better systems in place when it comes to training, because our cops have the most abysmal training in the world right now. And anybody who says like these is just a bunch of corruption and we can't fix it are fucking stupid. All right, I'm done. That's all I need to say.
Okay, doke. Eli.
Wait, also I wanted to say, Eli, it was a pleasure. You were awesome for a first time guest.
Thank you.
He's not first time. He's been here a few times.
Oh, is he? First time I've seen him then.
Yeah.
I'm just not new to the. I'm not as new to content creation as I come off.
He was your replacement when you abandoned us. We looked to Eli to fill it out.
And that's a damn good replacement, all right?
Okay.
Some might even say you upgraded.
I wouldn't say that. I'm just messing with you.
But they might say that.
Okay. Eli.
This is supposed to be my outro. Hi, I am Not Eli Monty. This time on every platform, including Twitch, everything. Just follow me everywhere. Just look me up, Not Eli Monty. You will be able to find me. I do a lot of things from gaming. Right now, I'm working through Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's rough because I'm getting my feet wet in Pokemon again because I recently quit. But I handle a lot of left-wing progressive politics. I'm really big on women's rights right now and debunking misogyny. I'm trying to do a series on my Twitch and YouTube channels where I debunk the alpha male podcast. If you guys have any inkling or know what that is, those are my bread and butter right now. It is my goal to have one on my show. So if you are interested, if you consider yourself to be one of the followers or disciples of the alpha male, alpha sigma male grind set types, hit me up. I would love to have you on to like figure out why you're so batshit crazy. But besides that, yeah, Nailai Monty everywhere. Help me out. I don't know. I also love Magic the Gathering, so.
Where's your audio?
I would love to play that again someday. Magic the Gathering. Okay, thanks so much. All right, moving on. Last but not least, well, actually not last. That's right. We have Pyro. Pyro, thanks for coming in at the last second. Thanks for not keeping a proper sleep schedule. That's always fun.
Of course.
Pyro, thanks for coming through.
Listen, I enjoy being here. I woke up specifically for this. I was like, whoa, what the fuck am I missing? It was like 7:30. I saw Prime sent the invite. I was like, yo, nigga, let me on. Y'all know y'all need my voice. And he let me on, because that's how it roll. I'm the Wizard of Weed. I love talking to all y'all. Black American Mate, you brought in some good points. I love it. Wiggle came in here with the diatribes of facts and knowledge that we know and love. Like, he said some shit that made the fucking conversation turn his tracks, because, like, his knowledge was there. Jay Cook up in here dropping some bombs. Like, I didn't expect her to be, like, pro no-knock raids, but she offered some good points that I can understand. There are some certain scenarios. Prime, goofy ass just sitting here smiling, cheesing the whole time. I love it. You know I love it. Like, who can't love that goofy ass face? Like, the smile, you gotta love it. You gotta give the Prime, you gotta give the subs, you gotta give it all. Keep that smile on the face. Not Eli, it was nice running into you. Like, I've seen you on a couple of these panels. Azzy, I know your ass ain't talking about people rambling and cutting people off. I'm the nigga with the fucking bong in front of me, and you going off on 10-minute tangents that niggas just get bored of, bro. Like, I understand it, bro. You don't like people cutting you off. I was cutting you off to try and agree with you half the times. And you're like, man, stop cutting me off. That tells me you don't pay attention to shit. And I hope you get better in that in the future. I'm starting to respect you a little bit more. I respect the Sangwoo hustle. You just gotta listen a little bit more. And now I'm gonna give it off to Wiggle because you know that nigga gonna end it with the fireworks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wiggle, a great mod just like Pyro here, right? A fantastic mod in our community. Great help to everyone. Wiggle, please end out the stream for me, or not the stream, but just this part.
Honestly, I wouldn't have spoken if you didn't say please, because that's the respect I deserve. Honestly, coming here like once a week or like whenever I come, it's honestly, it's not because I want to. It's because I have to. I have to do this for the Black community. You guys need me. This is trickle down Wigonomics, all right? You guys need me to come on these panels and do this, or else you'll be nothing.
What does that
You'll be
mean?
nothing. You'll be nothing. You need the presence of Wiggle in your movement. You need my charisma, my genius, everything that I offer you. And like honestly, I would like it if you said sir. I would like it if you referred to me as sir, lord. Anything beyond that is it's a waste of my time. So keep it to like one syllable. And then
Got
beyond
you.
that, thank you for saying please, because it's the least you can do. It's the least you could do at this point. And you know what, honestly, I like how you guys are all saying like thank you Azzy for this, and thank you Bam for this, and thank you Dolphin, Monty, J, Pyro for this. I don't need to thank any of you guys. You know why? Because y'all thank me, and all I do is I just like that shit. I'm that nigga. I'm that nigga that comes in there and you say that nice shit, and I just hit you with the thumbs up, and you know what's up, because that's all I need to do.
Thank me
And
right the
Azzy-
fuck now. Thank me right the
Azzy-
fuck now.
As you talking about that bullshit of like, oh, you know, notoriety, you and Black American made. You know, when the police stopped me, I got that notoriety. All right, I got that.
So wait,
Wow,
I
imagine
understand.
not thanking Black women. Wow,
When the
imagine.
mods,
Wow.
of
from
Twitch
the car,
got
they
on
be
me,
like, oh no, that smell.
I was
Ooh.
holding my tongue. They gonna
mods
curse
of Twitch ain't got nothing on me. All right.
Wiggle, thank me.
Okay,
Thank me right the
Denzel.
fuck now.
Okay,
Thank me
Denzel.
right the fuck now.
Get that same energy outside in the real. They gonna stomp you, bro.
We're gonna
Hey,
walk
for
up to
real.
a
Hey,
cop
quick
like,
plug.
you know who I am. He gonna get
Okay.
punched in the face.
Hey, quick
Okay,
actual plug.
okay.
Can y'all follow me on Twitter? I'm
No.
like 5
Yeah,
followers.
put
My
your
You
link
name-
in
gonna
chat.
arrest me?
Put your link in
I'm
Twitch chat.
5 followers.
Put your link in Twitch chat. Like
Oh, that seems like a lot.
that's
Yo, y'all understand why we say ban
then
Wiggle.
don't no one fucking follow this motherfucker, right? If he's that lazy, imagine what his tweets look like. Moving on.
Listen,
So
I don't be
anyway,
thanking Wiggle. Y'all be thanking Wiggle.
Oh
bro.
my god.
Y'all be turning them
So any which
Is he
way.
going on another rant?
So any which way, right? Thank you all for being here. Much appreciated.